Welcome to the CFB Top 25 podcast. I am your host, Big Drewski.
What up? My name's Casper, the co-host.
Welcome to, I believe, episode 11 of the CFB Top 25 podcast, where we try to give you just enough to sound smart at the water cooler. Going over the top 25 teams in the nation and some news that we find interesting. So, Casper, you found a nice article that I think is kind of ironic. Michigan.
Michigan is complaining that Jim Harbaugh might not be present at the 1,000th win on the road at Maryland this weekend. I did not realize that until today, but apparently that it would be their 1,000th win as a football program if they can beat Maryland on the road Saturday.
I mean, I get it, but like at the same time, don't cheat.
Well, there is a court hearing on Friday, which could grant a temporary restraining order, according to ESPN. All this information is according to ESPN. I'll be sure to quote our sources here, and we'll see what happens. But definitely, I mean, I don't love Jim Harbaugh, never have. If he's a cheater, I don't really give a darn if he's there or not. Excuse my French. But what about, do you?
Was he responsible for the other 999?
No. He was responsible for a chunk, but not that many. So
yeah, it's like, I get it. They want him there.
Odd up there in Michigan, though. Like, I know that we don't necessarily understand it, but I think it's because we're from the South and like Saban's a football god. But I think up there, for whatever reason, even though he hasn't won anything, I think he's kind of like a god.
He's very well loved and respected at Michigan, and I get it. They want him there, but at the same time, now this just came to me as we're talking about this, but don't cheat. I mean,
don't do dumb stuff.
You got caught cheating, whether or not he had anything to do with it.
Well,
I mean,
most people we know that get caught cheating end up making out like a bandit at the end anyways and end up with a better life situation they had. So,
yeah, this is true.
Good thing we don't know Jim Harbaugh.
But I mean, I don't, I hate that for the players. I know, like, they want him there and everything, but don't cheat. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. I feel bad for him, but I do. I mean, like I said, maybe he didn't know anything about it, but
yeah. So moving on to our next news article, James Madison and two other programs were denied postseason waivers. Those waivers were by James Madison, Jacksonville State, and Tarleton State, which are all teams that jumped up from the lower playoff level to the higher playoff level. I don't even know what we call the lower level now. It used to be the playoff division, but now it's all the playoff division. But basically, when you come up, you can't play in the postseason for 3 years. That's part of the rules. When you make the jump. And the reason is they don't want teams to go backwards and forwards based off the recruits they have.
Makes sense.
That's the theory on it. And that's why they do that. James Madison at 10-0 did request a waiver, and it was denied by the NCAA. Personally, I think rules are rules. They knew what the rules were when the players went there. I guess I feel a little bit bad for the players for not getting to play in a bowl game because, they played their butts off. But, hey, look, if they go undefeated, they've done everything they can do, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. And does a bowl game really matter in your NFL career if you play
really
good every other game? I don't think it does. So, bowls are honestly, which we can get into this someday in the off season, but bowl games are over and done with, in my opinion. So,
yeah, they no longer matter. Like, it just is what it is.
Guys don't even play in them. So, kind of interesting there. Do you have any comments on that? Or you want me to roll into our last one?
No, I'm with you, dude. Rules are rules. You knew what it is. Like, don't try to change it just because you're doing good. Like, sorry.
Also, just for the record, I took James Madison to take the loss to Appalachian State this weekend. It's college game day rolls into town. It's not in the top 25 in the playoff rankings, which I suppose is because they're not eligible. I wanted to look at that. Let me check that real quick. Because I think James Madison is still in the top 25 in the AP. They are number 18th in the AP, but they are not in the playoff rankings because they're not eligible. So they are, kind of the 18th best team. So props to them for that. And I don't want to shoot that, because that is definitely an awesome thing for them to do. But like I said, we know what the rules were when you came up. So
yeah, just like we know what the rules are about recording the other team's sideline and signals.
or like when you go to work, make sure you're not stealing time off the clock. It's just rules are
Yeah,
rules,
exactly.
and you got to
Especially
live with
when
the
you're
consequences. So
walking out the door with your manager there, like that's not what you want.
yeah, you don't want to get busted doing something schemy.
So
But
Georgia takes over Ohio State in the
finally,
it does feel right. I mean,
good Lord have mercy. God, it took
it
forever,
does
bro.
feel right. Nothing against
Jeez.
Ohio State, but it
No, nothing against
just looked weird.
Well,
Honestly,
Georgia.
that I was just gonna say that's probably a more favorable spot for Ohio State, anyways.
Yes and no. The thing that helps Ohio, that helped Georgia was obviously another ranked win against number 9 Ole Miss. And if they can beat a number 18 Tennessee this week, which you would imagine they would shellac them, that also helps their record and is going to keep them there. I think it's interesting that we have Ohio State and Michigan at 2 and 3. And I'm curious to see what happens when one of them loses. If Florida State and Washington stay undefeated, we are going to be in a mess, bro. An absolute mess.
It's gonna be chaos. Speaking of an absolute mess and
there's one more.
slacking, number 1 Georgia is traveling to number 18 Tennessee. Oh, as a Vols fan, this one's hard for me to just even talk about. But Georgia is traveling to Tennessee. Tennessee's not had the year that they thought. They thought that they were going to kind of continue on that success they had last year. This is instead of being a bounce back year, it's a back year. They're sitting at 7-3 with the real possibility of going 8-4. The Vols do some things good. Their defensive line's good at getting pressure, getting sacks, hurry ups, all that stuff. They before Mizzou have had a great rushing attack all year on the ground. But Casper, are they going to be able to move the ball on the ground against Georgia? And is that defensive line of Tennessee going to be able to get pressure on that O line for Georgia?
I think the defensive line will be able to get pressure as long as they don't get tired from being on the field. I think overall the running is definitely going to make the difference. I'm trying to have an unbiased perspective. My unbiased perspective of this game is Tennessee is a tanking football team, just lost to Missouri, lost to Alabama after being up at halftime, and really hasn't looked like their old self since then. That game against a 1-8 UConn doesn't count when they scored 100 points or whatever, but I mean, it does not look good for the Volunteers going into this game. So yeah, I'd have to pick Georgia, but Georgia also cannot come into this game asleep. This is going to be in the loudest stadium. It's 102,000. I did the research.
This is the loudest game that they've played in Neyland in years.
And I will be there contributing. For those of you that don't know, I will be there making my contribution. So shout out to Mrs. Casper, the host. She doesn't listen, but I just want her to know I love her. And yeah, so you can
that'll be pretty fun.
Points.
No editing. We're past that. This is 2023 now.
Make like a TikTok out of it or something. Come on now, help me out.
Oh, you mean like cut it out? Oh, okay.
Let's get a clip.
Did you make a note in the timestamps?
Yeah, I did actually.
Okay, if you made a note, then I can maybe remember that.
Don't do that. All right, next number 2.
Worst case, you can just send her the video and tell her to fast forward. There we go.
I like that.
And we get a view. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to pick Georgia on this one. I hope I'm wrong though. I'm with you though. They can't play this game close at Neyland. Not anymore. I mean, the Vols faithful. They remembered what it's like to be good at football again, and they are loud, proud, and they're rowdy. So definitely can't play it close. But interested to see next one. Number 2, Ohio State hosts Minnesota. They are favored by. Oh, by the way, the Georgia's favored by 10 points. Just so you know, to those of you that's listening, Ohio State is favored by 27.5 points against Minnesota. The over and under set at 49.5. I'm going to pick Ohio State. I think they're rolling. They're going to be pissed off that they dropped to second. They still got Michigan on the board. So we'll see what happens there. But I think this week they're going to go rolling, and then it's all going to come to a head next week.
I expect the Gophers to cover the 27.5 just for the record, but other than that, it'll be all Ohio State all day. Next.
Yes. Number 3, Michigan is at Maryland. This is a noon kickoff game. By the way, the Ohio State game's kicking off at 4 p.m. Michigan's favored by 19 points. This is a noon kickoff. I really honestly could see Maryland playing this game close at home. They're 6-4. Michigan's undefeated. Michigan's, they expect to win this week, but they got the stuff of, Harbaugh and all that. I could see this one being closer than it needs to, but I do think Michigan's going to win. They're pissed off. They feel wrong. They want that 1,000th win. Yeah.
This is Talia's last chance to be relevant. If this was a night game, I would call this a trap game, and I would look at Maryland to possibly win this game. However, again, I'm going to take Michigan to absolutely just destroy Maryland. Blake Corum will probably run for like 5 million yards and 7 touchdowns or something. So give me Michigan big.
So the next game is number
4. Florida State hosts the University of North Alabama. This is not even a game we're going to talk about. Florida State's 10-0, going to be 11-0, playing against a 3-7 North Alabama team. There are no lines established for this game.
Florida it's also on the CW network, which is very telling.
Florida State getting a tune-up for that big game they got next week against Florida. And that'll finish their year up. So all I got to do is get the dub there and move on to the ACC championship game, and we'll see what happens.
Moving on, number 5, Washington at number 11, Oregon State. Now this one's very interesting, okay? We talked about this one a little bit on the Little Tangerine show, which if you're a Vols fan, check out. If not, mind your business. Don't even go listen to it, okay? If you're not a Vols fan, keep out. But yeah, this one's very interesting. As you pointed out on the last show, I mean, Oregon State's got 2 close losses, and both of those were on the road. Arizona and who's the other one?
Oregon State's losses.
Washington State.
Yeah.
Both by 3 points, both on the road. So very interesting. Oregon State does some things well. DJ Uiagalelei has done well over there. Sorry, I never can pronounce his name. I don't even try anymore. But he's kind of found a home over there. 2,254 yards, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Obviously Michael Penix Jr. for Washington's been balling out. Washington's kind of had a resurgence, done a lot of good things well. But this is a 7:30 kickoff. I think that's Eastern Standard Time. I really can't remember, but. Whatever you said, Mr.
That's Eastern time for sure. I apologize.
I
apologize.
Now, Oregon State is actually favored by 2.5 points, which is interesting.
Yeah. Matchup predictor gives this game to Washington, though, which is interesting. So I think you're not wrong on Vegas trying to get you to bite. By the way, what about this new ESPN bet? Did they buy MGM or what?
I don't know. I did used to have a BetMGM app. I've not looked at it recently, but I just know historically when Vegas sets it at -2.5, they're not sure either, and they're trying to give you just enough window of hope where you're like, oh, okay, I'll pick them, and then you get wasted. So
yeah. So who you got?
I've got Oregon State on this one.
Dude, I'm with you. I think Oregon State, I think that it's a really underrated environment. Give me Oregon State for the win over Washington, make the WAC-12 look like the WAC-12 again.
What do you think, by field goal?
Yeah, overtime, honestly. Yeah, tight game. And go ahead, and I'm just going to go for gold. Let me go ahead and ring Penix up on the interception in the fourth quarter.
So Oregon State money line, Penix for an INT. What about that over under?
Probably over.
Oh yeah, baby. There's the parlay of the century. Don't put any money on that.
I might.
Call Tennessee Red Line if you have any. Number 6, Oregon at Arizona State. Oregon's favored by 23.5. Arizona State 3-7, not really having the year they want. Obviously, I think Oregon's going to win this one. Not much point in talking about this one. Thoughts?
Bo Nix will absolutely just shellac the Arizona State Sun Devils. I guess that's the word of the week this week, by the way. Arizona State, interestingly enough, their losses came to Washington by 8. Utah beat the what out of them. And then they barely lost to Colorado. They lost to Colorado. They're not a good football team. So give me Oregon big to cover 23.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Oregon as well. I could actually see them covering. I would strongly consider the over under, but I don't know that Arizona State's going to score.
Bo Nix might put up that many by himself. Honestly,
maybe. Moving on, number 7, Texas at Iowa State. I think this game is going to be a little underrated. Texas is favored by 7.5. Iowa State's really not that bad of a football team. I don't know that they're going to have enough for Texas. I know I talked about it on the last episode, but I think that Texas is going to be able to beat the ground game, and I think that they're going to be able to wear Iowa State down. So I'm going to go with Texas. I don't know that I feel comfortable with the score of -7.5, but I think Texas is going to win this one. Ewers is back. I think he's going to have something for him.
Iowa State is one of those teams. It's like your cousin that does crack that you don't want to invite to Thanksgiving. Honestly, like they just come in and mess stuff up. That's kind of what they're known for, right?
Happy holidays.
Yeah. And I'm going to take Texas by 3. I think this be a night game at Iowa State. It'll be a ruckus environment for sure. But I am going to roll with Quentin Ewers and Texas. It's going to be a little cold out there in Ames, Iowa. Kickoff 45 and cloudy. If we're lucky, maybe they'll get some snow in there. Then we'll see what they really got. But this game matchup predictor gives us 78.4% Texas. Texas favored by 7.5. Like I said, I don't love that. I might like the over in this game at 46.5 too, just for the record. But
Iowa State's got a pretty good defense. Texas has got a pretty good defense. I may feel a little bit more comfortable on the under, but this is actually one I may end up watching. I say actually, like, maybe someone would be surprised, but it's kind of what I do now.
I don't know how you're going to watch that because I don't think I'm taking the eyes off that Washington Oregon State game. I really don't. I know you got 4 screens and all, but I want 65 inches of Washington Oregon State, I think.
Number 8, Alabama hosts University of Tennessee
at Chattanooga.
Yeah. Bama's going to mud stomp Chattanooga. The only thing Chattanooga's ever produced is Terrell Owens
and me.
Well, yeah. I just mean the university. Did you go to UTC?
I did take it's a long story. Got like 1 or 2 classes. Yeah.
You know what that's code for, kids? Ah, la, 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 la. Just kidding. Number 9, Mizzou hosts Florida. Mizzou's on a tear. Florida is not. Mizzou proved, in my opinion, last week, although a lot of people was just going to say Tennessee sucks, but I think they proved that they have what it takes to hang around in the SEC. Finally, you're next, Texas A&M. Go ahead and prove yourself whenever you're ready. I think Mizzou's going to win this game. They're favored by 11.5. Florida is good, but man, there's a guy by the name of Cody Schrader on that team. Golly, that dude's a beast.
To be fair, Florida doesn't have a history of making average players look great, but I expect this game to be closer. Honestly, I thought this game was at Florida when we talked about it earlier in the week, and I picked Florida. Then when I saw this game was at Missouri for a night game, I was like, oh, yeah, definitely going to be Tigers big. So Missouri's looking at 10-2. That's not that far off of the 4-8 I predicted them to go for the year. So,
No, it's not far at all.
Moving on back to the ACC, my favorite conference in all of college football. Big time football game right here at noon. Kickoff, ABC, number 10 Louisville travels to Miami to Hard Rock Stadium to take on the Hurricanes, who, in my opinion, have had one of the most disappointing seasons of any football team in the last coming into the year, Miami had high hopes. They were ranked up in the top 12, I believe, as high as they were. And
I would
after they
agree
couldn't
with
take a knee against Georgia Tech, they've choked.
I would agree with you on that one, with the only exception I think Clemson might beat them out. But yeah,
Well, they're going to lose this weekend, so.
Clemson did what everybody thought Bama was going to do, but Saban said, "Not so fast."
Yeah, I'm on that list too, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So what I want to know is, are you going to take the Cardinals or the Canes, Big Drewski?
So noon is weird. It's going to be hot and heavy down there in Miami. Matchup predictor, we've got Miami 52.9%. I actually like that. Although Miami, they've definitely had their struggles. I just think that they're the better football team than Louisville. I keep doubting Louisville, man. I'm going to go Miami Hurricanes, but if Louisville wins this one, man, I'm not going to probably doubt them the rest of the year. Plummer is a good quarterback for Louisville, just for the record. 2,400 yards, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's not a good touchdown interception ratio, but a lot of that's just him trying to make plays and stuff. And most of the time I'm for it, but Louisville is really not a bad football team at all. But they're sitting pretty at 6-1, second in the ACC right now. Like you said, I could see Miami just screwing stuff sideways and creating a lot of two-loss situations in the ACC. But I'm gonna take Miami.
I just want to point out that it's insane to me that a number 10 team is not favored over an unranked team. I think that's insane that Miami's favored by a half point in this game. But I'm going to go Miami. I mean, I think this is their chance to come up and beat somebody. Louisville's one loss, if I'm not mistaken, came to a terrible, and I repeat, terrible.
I think it was Georgia Tech.
I think it was
Pittsburgh.
And they got beat pretty good. And Pitt is not a good football team this year. I know they have been in the past, but they are not. I mean, they've only got 2 wins on the year. One of them being Louisville. Louisville and Wofford is their only wins. And I think that they're going to come out and lay. I think Louisville's going to come out and lay the goose egg right here. So, give me the Hurricanes.
Next game, number 12, Penn State hosts the Rutgers. Rutgers they're good on defense. They're really not that bad of a team. Shiano's actually done a pretty good job over there. However, it's Penn State at home. Penn State's going to keep rolling in this one. I mean, the Rutgers leading passer, Wimsat, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions on the year. So, and he's going up against a good Penn State team at home. So, Penn State's going to bounce back. They're favored by 20.5. Give me Penn State.
I worry about Penn State's offense in this game, getting rid of their offensive coordinator. They have a tight ends coach and running back coach that are going to co-offensive coordinate. I do not like co-coordinating ever in football games. I think it's a terrible idea. But I'm going to take Penn State. I'm not sure about the 20.5, though, but I'll take Penn State for the win.
The only pro against this good Rutgers defense with the is that's going to be kind of hard to game plan for as well. But I think just being at home alone may save Penn State. But, yeah, I'm going to take Penn State. Yeah. Number 13, Ole Miss hosts ULM. Ole Miss is sitting at 8-2 on the season after the loss to Georgia last week. They're also favored by 37 points. Sorry, Willie Robertson. I'm taking Ole Miss in this one big. I don't know that they're going to cover that spread, but I'm going to take them big against the 2. And
about this, give me Ole Miss by a mile, and definitely covering the 37.5. And we'll see if they got in the Egg Bowl next week.
Oh, yeah. Number 14, Oklahoma at BYU. Oklahoma is favored by 24.5. I don't know that they're going to cover that spread against BYU. Dude, BYU Stadium is actually underratedly lit.
in Provo, and this is gonna be an early morning game. So
Yeah.
this is 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff. So you're looking at 10 or 9. I think it's 10 out there. No, I think it's 3 hours. I think that's 9 o'clock out there. So interesting deal. Provo's a beautiful town. I don't know if you ever drove out there, but it is really this stadium
Dude,
has a nice backdrop, man.
I watched a BYU game this past week because it was at a weird time, and they had like fire tosser dudes and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, BYU's lit,
Cold
son.
kickoff for this game, 38 degrees. It gets cold out there in that desert.
Yeah,
So
I'm not saying BYU's going to win, but I think they're definitely going to cover that spread.
yeah, 24.5 is a lot, but Oklahoma is going to get the dub for sure.
Yeah, and I approve of that message. What we got next?
We got number 15 LSU hosting Georgia State. Yet again, another one of those games that we don't even really need to talk about. This is LSU's favored by 31 points, over under 71.5. Georgia State 6-4, LSU 7-3. Obviously, Georgia State plays in down a division. Jaden Daniels probably going to come back and absolutely ball. Georgia State on a 3-game losing streak, like I told you they would be after last week. Give me LSU by 1,000,000. Do you have anything to say? Or are we moving on?
It's gonna be LSU by a lot for sure. I mean, no real point in talking about it. We might see LSU's 5th string quarterback or something in that game, but yeah, definitely LSU.
Yep. Up next, number 16, Iowa hosts number 0, unranked Illinois Fighting Illini. Iowa's only favored by 3 points in this game. Illinois is bringing back their quarterback. You said his name. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
Altmaier, is that it?
Altmaier, yeah.
He is a little bit of a gunslinger, if I'm not mistaken, but he's a little interception prone.
13 tuds, 10 interceptions. Yeah, he's a little turnover prone, and this Iowa defense is stout. They're basically like, hey, we're not going to score any points. We're not going to score any points, but neither are you.
Yeah.
Like,
are we taking the under on the 30.5? Because I think I am.
Yeah, I might take that under.
I'll take the under in Iowa for the dub.
Yeah, I'm.
And I'll take over on 15 punts if that's an option.
If not, it should be. But yeah, I'm gonna take that as well. Next up, we got number 17 Arizona hosts number 22 Utah. Utah, they started off inspired, and then some things kind of came off the rails a little bit there. Arizona, on the other side, is starting to pick up a little bit of steam. This is a 2:30 kickoff time, Pac-12 network game. I mean, what do you think, Casper?
I think this is a toss-up football game, but I think Arizona's been rolling lately at home. I will take them. The only thing about Utah is I thought Utah was on a little bit more of a skid. Look at their schedule here. Their losses were Washington, Oregon, and Oregon State, and that right now is 3 top 12 teams. Arizona, I don't know, is a top 12 team. This, if I had Pac-12 network and I was going to be home, I would look at watching this game. I think it'll be a good knockout, drag out. So probably pretty exciting.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go Arizona for the win.
I'm going to go Arizona as well. I just think they're underrated, I just think they're underrated. But what's the next one?
Number 19, Notre Dame hosts Wake Forest. 4-6, Wake Forest, the home of Sam Hartman before he transferred to Notre Dame. This game is a 3:30 kickoff on NBC. This game is at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is favored by 24.5. And I'm about to just go ahead and say it. I'm going with Wake Forest for the dub. I am. I think Wake comes in here, upsets Notre Dame. Notre Dame, man, like they're Notre Dame. Like they're not ever going to be able to get it done. They always choke. They took a loss to Louisville. They took a loss to Clemson. I mean, they're just not looking too good in my opinion. So, I think Sam Hartman's old team gets the revenge. Give me the Demon Deacons over the Catholics.
I think Sam Hartman's going to get the revenge at home. Notre Dame, they've definitely struggled a little bit. But I mean, they play good at home, dude. So, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to say that they get the home win. I don't know that I like that, 24 and a half. That was actually my lock of the week on our other show was a Wake plus 24 and a half. Yeah, no, I think Notre Dame's going to get the win. I don't know that it's going to be by 24, or 25 points though. So that's my prediction for that.
I know I was doing drugs when I said Wake, but I'm still going with Wake. Up next, number 20, North Carolina Tar Heels travel to Death Valley to face off against the Clemson Tigers. Matchup predictor gives this game 60.5% to Clemson at 6-4. What say ye?
Listen, Dabo, they're on a hot streak, man. It's at home. UNC struggled. I do think UNC is going to kind of tighten up ship again, but I don't know, man. I think Clemson being at home, they're out for blood right now. Dabo's undefeated since being called out by the random dude on the radio show. Tyler from Spartanburg. Yeah, I'm gonna take Clemson at home.
I'm gonna roll with the Tar Heels, man. I think Drake May, Carolina still has a chance here. I think, and I know that I'm kind of picking this intentionally, but Carolina would take over that ACC championship spot if they win out from Louisville. So give me Carolina to get the dub at Death Valley over the Clemson Tigers.
It's so adorable when
I'll be heartbroken. Hey, the good news is I don't have to watch that. I'm gonna be at Neyland Stadium, so
yeah, it's adorable when Tar Heels fans get their hearts set on football and being good at it. It's almost like Vols fans getting excited about winning.
Basketball, look, we're 2 weeks from today, Tennessee versus UNC basketball. We might have to go out to the bar or something and watch that. Applebee's or something.
What day is it on? If it's during the week. Yeah, I'm out.
I'll talk to T Fitty.
I'm 33 now. Yeah, T Fitty's got nothing going on.
Yeah,
so
I'll see what he's got.
Next game, number 21, Kansas State at number 25, Kansas. This one here's in-state rivalry at Kansas. Kansas State's favored by 7.5. Kansas has an underrated home environment that definitely can get rowdy. I'm going to side with the reigning champs, though, of the Big 12 there, the Kansas State Wildcats. They're 7-3, playing good. Kansas is 7-3, but I think they're going to get it done with defense, and I think they're going to come in and steal one. So I'm going to take Kansas State on the road.
All right, I am definitely going to go with the Kansas Jayhawks to get the dub over Kansas State at home night game. Lawrence, Kansas, going to be blue. Hopefully a blue out. I'm going to take Kansas over Kansas State. That will also knock Kansas State out of the running for the Big 12 conference standings and just turn that into a shit show as well. So
this is one of the few times this year that I've kind of went against the night game at home thing, but I think one of the exceptions has been an in-state rivalry. I think Kansas State's going to travel well, but that'll be a good game though.
We'll see. Yeah, no, definitely a good game to watch for sure. But there's a lot of good matchups this weekend. I know, it's not Ohio State, Michigan, but there's some good matchups out there. So looking forward to watching football all day Saturday, right?
Yep. Number 23, Oklahoma State at Houston. I wish y'all could see what I'm seeing on the notes. That's one of my new favorite pastimes is just reading.
Don't be an ass.
Basic typos.
Let's homeschool. Don't be an ass.
It just brings me so much joy. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. So Oklahoma State is on the road at Houston. Houston's 4-6. Houston had that high-powered offense last year. They've had some woes this year. Matchup predictor is in favor of Oklahoma State by 65.5 points. Percent. I might have to go with ESPN on this one, man. Mike Gundy. Man, they've been playing inspired over there at Oklahoma State this year. Had a good upset or two. I'm gonna take Oklahoma State on the road. This is a 4 p.m. kickoff, whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna take Oklahoma State. No, nothing against Houston. Now, I do think that this one's probably gonna be close, but I think they're gonna pull it out towards the end. Over under set at 60.5. Man, I don't know.
This is a big comeback win for Oklahoma State here after getting shellacked by UCF last week, 45-3. Terrible game. I expect them to come out and do the same thing to Houston, absolutely just rip their buttholes out. So,
Shellac them.
Give me Oklahoma State big.
Speaking of big number 24, Tulane on the road against FAU. I went to click on that link. That one's for a different one. But, Tulane's, they're having a bit of a Cinderella season and all. They're 9-1. They've been playing pretty good. I think they're going to keep it rolling, honestly, on the road at FAU. It's a noon kickoff. Nothing against FAU, but I think Tulane, they're trying to really get a good bowl game so they can try to get some recruits in and try to stay relevant. So give me Tulane. They're favored by 9.5. I actually feel kind of comfortable with that.
Yep, I agree. Give me Tulane. Big green wave for the dub. And a
worst uniforms in college football.
I agree with that as a fact, Jack, as a fact.
Now, for the next segment, upset watch. Are there any, besides Tennessee, which is our favorite team, are there any upsets that you got your eye on, Casper?
Washington. I'm going to take Washington. I picked it. I think Washington losing to Oregon State is big time this week. I think it's going to happen.
For the record, that is mine as well, but I'm going to try to pick I'm going to try to.
Carolina, you picked that.
Clemson. Okay, yeah. I'll go Clemson. So yours is Washington. Well, technically yours would be Oregon State, right?
Oregon State.
Upset watch. You're right. So mine's going to be North Carolina. I think, I think Dabo's got it rolling. He's at home, pissed off. That's who I'm going with.
Fair assessment.
So, since they did finally, which by the way, College Football Playoff Committee, get your crap together, dude. Ain't nobody trying to wait for these daggum rankings.
I swear they're trying to punish small podcasts by not putting these rankings out, dude. I swear they are.
Maybe. I don't know. But the final rankings coming into this week, number 1, Georgia, number 2, Ohio State, 3, Michigan, 4, Florida State, 5, Washington. Those are all your 10-0 undefeateds. Number 6, Oregon, 7, Texas, 8, Alabama. Those are all 9-1. Moving on to number 9, Mizzou, who jumped up 5 spots after beating Tennessee pretty well last week. They're 8-2. Number 10, Louisville, 11, Oregon State, 12, Penn State, 13, Ole Miss, 14, Oklahoma. Number 15, LSU. That is your first 3-loss team, for the record. Number 16, Iowa, who was the biggest positive mover of the week. They moved up 6 spots. Number 17, Arizona. Number 18, Tennessee. 19, Notre Dame. 20, North Carolina. 21, Kansas State. 22, Utah. Number 23, Oklahoma State. They dropped 8 spots. Number 24, Tulane, and number 25, Kansas. They were the biggest mover of the week, dropping down 9 spots. Thoughts on the top 25?
I'm good with it. I like where we're at. Hey, I just want to go ahead and ask you, do we get Carolina, Tennessee in a bowl game this year? I'm putting you on the spot.
I think there's a good chance of it. And if there is, I would strongly consider trying to go, depending on where it's at. Could be the Music City Bowl at this point.
Maybe that Duke's Mayo Bowl as well. But
I could see that. That would actually be a good Duke's Mayo Bowl, personally, because you'd have the mayo versus the mustard.
Well, you would have, Duke's mayonnaise versus Hellman's mayonnaise, which Duke's mayonnaise is trash, just for the record. I don't use that crap. I only use Hellman's. So I'm an American, but Other than that, we wrapping this thing up. I think we're both sick, tired, ready to go to bed.
We are both sick, tired. That's all I have, anyways. Don't forget, make sure you tip your hearts and all this weekend. Cannot wait to catch back up with y'all Monday. Casper, any closing words?
Thank y'all for listening. It's been a great time. We'll be back. I guess we got one more preview show. Two closeouts, one preview show, and then we'll probably do like I don't know what we're going to do after that. We'll talk about that tomorrow, I guess. So Thank y'all for listening, though. Appreciate it.
Until next time, baby. Big Drewski and Casper of the CFB Top 25 podcast, that we're out. Peace.
Peace.